Investing in an IRA after you're retired is not smart. In this episode, I'm going to address the question, can I invest in an IRA if I'm retired? Well, yes, under certain conditions, but I would not recommend it. You're going to learn why. I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a retirement planning specialist for more than 46 years. So I've helped many people plan for their retirement, but especially I've helped most people with at-retirement planning, because what you do at retirement is totally different than maybe what you did for retirement. Now, a lot of times people ask the question, well, golly, I've got some money, I'm still earning income or whatever. Can I invest in an IRA after retirement? Well, there are certain rules, so we'll go through those first, and then I want to share with you why I do not think that is a smart idea, because there's way better alternatives. So when we talk about the rules, these were actually modified or passed in the Secure Act of 2019. And so the basic rules are that you have to be earning income. If you're going to contribute to an IRA after retirement, you have to have earned income. There's three types of income that we report on our 1040 tax returns ever since 1986 tax reform. Earned income, that's salaries and wages and so forth. Passive income, which might be rents, leases, or what have you. And then we have portfolio income, which is like interest and dividends and so forth from money in a bank or credit union or stocks or what have you. So you have to have earned income to be able to contribute. You cannot contribute more to an IRA than you're earning. And so you have to abide by certain contribution limits when you do that. So the simple answer is yes, you can, but you can't contribute more than what you're earning. And you have to also stay within the IRS contribution limits. But I would not recommend it. Now, by the way, a Roth IRA, you can contribute for the rest of your life if you would like to a Roth, but you have to abide by those conditions on when you can access the money and so forth. So yes, now why do I not recommend that people put money into an IRA after retiring? It's the same reason basically why I have never owned an IRA or 401k. I never will. I've never owned a Roth IRA or 401k. I never will, because even though they may be a good way to go, they are far cry from the best way to go, because you can have any of the few benefits that a Roth or an IRA or 401k has, but you can have way more benefits, have sometimes 100 to 400% more net spendable retirement income by not going that route. So let me explain sort of the pitfalls, the drawbacks of a qualified plan like an IRA or 401k, and why I feel like, hey, not only after you retire, it's not smart, but even before you retire. And many people who learn this begin to do a strategic rollout out of their IRAs and 401ks. So what is the premise, or the original premise, behind advising somebody to contribute money into an IRA or 401k, the traditional ones? It was usually, oh, you're going to be in a lower tax bracket when you retire, so it would be better to put money in pre-tax. See, an IRA, you put in contributions and you get to deduct what you contribute off of your tax return, off your income. With a 401k, which is usually sponsored through an employer, you're actually putting in pre-tax dollars. So you're putting in tax advantage dollars on the front end, what I call the seed money, because I've used an analogy for years, the farmer and the seed. If you were a farmer and you had the choice of buying your seed, let's say in the springtime, the seed money going into your retirement plan, and you didn't have to pay tax on what you paid for the seed. And you could cultivate, water, irrigate, work hard, and then in the fall, when you're ready to harvest, so the fall of life would be retirement, when you're ready to harvest the money out of your IRAs or 401ks, now you agree to pay tax on what you sell your harvest for. Well, way back 30, 35 years ago, a lot of people, when they retired, were in lower tax brackets. That has not been the case. It has not been true or axiomatic now for more than 25 years. People are usually not in lower brackets unless they didn't save very much. Is that why you want to be in a lower bracket? Why? Because they were sort of killing their deductions along the way, paying off their house. You no longer have that deduction usually in retirement. The kids are not at home anymore, or if they are, you can't deduct them anymore if they're adult children living with you. Business owners don't have those deductions anymore. You're not contributing money in retirement, usually to IRAs or 401ks. You don't have those deductions anymore. And Congress keeps raising taxes. And so, hello, most audiences that I talk to, when I say, how many of you think future taxes in the long run are going to be lower? I get nothing but crickets. How many think they're going to be the same? One or two. How many think they're going to be higher? And a sea of hands goes up. I go, then why are you continuing to postpone, defer, procrastinate paying tax until your account grows like this to some future perceived unknown advantage? And now you're going to withdraw your money when you have this much money and pay tax during the harvest? I would rather pay tax on the seed and enjoy the harvest tax-free. Now, you may think that's a Roth. A Roth is okay, it's a step in the right direction, but it still has too many strings attached. That's why I have never owned a Roth and I never will. What are the strings? You can only put in a certain dollar amount, a certain percent. If you make too much money, you can't even have a Roth. My favorite vehicle, which I call the Laser Fund, which is a max funded indexed UL, which I have earned an average of 7 to 10% net cash on cash tax free for the last 26 years. And for the last 45 years, I've averaged 8.2%. Indexing came out in 1997. That's not index mutual funds. That's another topic that I cover on this YouTube channel. But folks, that will knock the socks off of a Roth or an IRA or 401k. Just like a Roth, you fund it with after-tax dollars. You accumulate your money tax-free. You can access the money tax-free, but there's 4 additional benefits that it has that a Roth will never have. What are they? I can put in after-tax money into my Laser Fund. Now, Laser is an acronym that stands for Liquid Assets Safely Earning Returns. And you can learn on this channel about what a laser fund is. In fact, at the end of this episode, I'll show you how you can get a book called The Laser Fund that will change your life financially. But basically, the 4 additional advantages I have in a laser fund over a Roth is I can put in huge lump sums. You can't do that in a Roth. You're limited. If I have a banner year, I could put in $300,000. I could put in $1 million if I'm a business owner. Now, if I can put in 300 and I don't, if I only put in 30,000, then I have 270,000 of room that I didn't use. If a tax year goes by with a Roth, if you don't use room allowed by the government, you lose it forever. If you don't use it, you lose it. With a laser fund, I can put in that 270,000 of room in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th year, anywhere down the road. I can make up for years that I didn't max it out. You can't do that with a Roth. But here's another advantage. If I put in 300,000 and a month later, I needed to access 250,000 of it for some business opportunity or whatever, I can do that. You cannot put money in a Roth and touch it for 5 years or age 59 and a half. You have to wait. With the Laser Fund, I can put money in, I can take it out, and you can learn how to do that on this YouTube channel. But with my Laser Fund, I get to use indexing. In a nutshell, indexing means when the market goes up, I benefit, but my money is not invested or at risk in the market. So I have earned 16%, 25%, even 55% tax-free using indexing. But when the market goes down, I do not lose because my money is not at risk in the market. This is powerful. I want you to learn that, and I'll show you how to get a book where you can understand this. The last advantage is if I happen to die, because sooner or later, all of us are going to graduate, right? If I died tomorrow, every million in my portfolio of laser funds would immediately blossom to 2.5 million and transfer income tax-free to my spouse, my kids, my grandkids, or a charity of my choosing. There's not a Roth around that will do that. And when people say, well, how much does that cost? The way I structure it, nothing. Now, nothing's free, but I'm not paying for it. you can learn how it's paid for with otherwise payable income tax that most people shell out on IRAs and 401ks. Would you like to learn more? So I have helped thousands of people take ownership for their own retirement in something far better than an IRA or 401k or a Roth. And so that's why my advice is before you retire or even after you retire, I do not think putting money into an IRA is smart when there's something far smarter to put your money into. Now, it's called the Laser Fund in this book. It's my latest bestseller. It's my 11th book. This is 300 pages. And the first 200 pages are for you left brain thinkers. You like the charts and the graphs and the numbers, but a lot of people learn by stories and examples. So watch. You flip this book over, and this is the second book. And this is about 100 pages, 12 chapters with 62 actual client stories of how it works. There's even stories in there explaining when it didn't work and why it didn't work. So this isn't for everybody, but my heavens, you need to learn about this. The book retails for 20 bucks. I'll show you how to get one for free here. I will pay for the book. You simply go to laserfund.com. Claim your free copy of this book, and I'll fire it out to you. You simply pay $5.95 shipping and handling. To be honest with you, that doesn't even quite cover the cost of the shipping and handling, but I want this information in your hands. There's options in there if you want to learn additional things visually or the audio version. And so my invitation is for you to claim your free copy by going to laserfund.com, and then you can learn more about something that I think is far better than any IRA or 401k or Roth that you could show me.